A clean mold test proves almost nothing. The air sample your inspector sold you is number 1 on this list. And that isn't a hunch of mine. It's the position of the Environmental Protection Agency, printed in their own homeowner guide. No federal limits exist for mold or mold spores, so sampling cannot check compliance with any federal standard. There is no passing score. There never was one. So a man in a polo shirt hands you a lab report and says your numbers came back normal. But he's comparing your house to a number that doesn't exist. He's comparing it to outdoor air on one afternoon. 6 things about that machine in your closet the air test will never show you. Then 3 that work, and 1 question that ends the argument with any contractor selling a sanitizer. A cassette on a tripod pulls air across a sticky slide, and a lab counts what's stuck. The measurement is real, but it only measures air. And the association that certifies these testers says its own test can't support definitive conclusions about the extent of mold growth. Their word for it is notional, but the invoice still says $400. And notice where the technician stands. The living room. He's nowhere near the evaporator coil, sealed in a metal cabinet behind a screwed panel. The sample comes from the part of the house you can see. The growth is in the part you can't. A clean result doesn't mean nothing is growing. It means nothing was airborne in that room, that window. Remember that phrase. Number 2 is why the count reads low. The coil hides itself by being wet. Spores get launched by disturbance across dry material. That's why a moldy wall cavity reads clean until somebody cuts into it. But your coil is never dry in cooling season. That's its whole job. Warm air crosses fins colder than the dew point and water condenses out. And a wet surface doesn't aerosolize. Water holds particles down. So the condition that makes that coil the best habitat in your house is the same one keeping it off your air test. What grows there isn't fuzz either. It's a film, bonded to the aluminum by a matrix the organisms secrete. That matrix glues them down and blocks chemicals, which is why the coil cleaner your tech sprayed was gone within a month. Number 3 will annoy people, and it should. What's on your coil is mostly not mold. It's bacteria. A study in the journal Hemisphere in 2020 sampled evaporator cores across 5 countries. The dominant organism was Methylobacterium. Earlier work found living organisms on those fins after 27 months of dry storage. That research is automotive, and extending it to your attic coil is an inference, so I'll say so. But your mold test looks for fungal spores, not Methylobacterium. So you asked about mold, got an answer about mold, and the thing on the metal was never mold. Number 4 you've already smelled. The trade calls it dirty sock syndrome. Sour, wet laundry, 30 seconds after startup, worst in spring and fall. The reason is temperature. A gas furnace runs its heat exchanger past 160 degrees every winter, sterilizing the metal as a side effect. A heat pump in heating mode sits near 120 to 130. That's not a kill cycle, that's a greenhouse. The trade estimate is 0.5% to 2% of heat pumps in southern states. And it isn't brand specific. Manufacturers have swapped whole systems and watched it return. Work published in Current Microbiology in the year 2000 ran the chemistry. Biofilm on aluminum evaporator parts produced mainly dimethyl disulfide, a sulfur compound. That's why it reads as socks and not basement. But I won't tell you it's making you sick. It's an odor and hygiene problem and an indicator condition. It can aggravate asthma and allergies. But it isn't established as a serious hazard for a healthy adult. Hold those 4 together, because the pattern is the point. The test can't see the coil. The coil hides because it's wet. The organism isn't the one being tested for. The film resists the chemicals sold to remove it. 4 failures, 1 root cause. Moisture management in that cabinet was value engineered out. Number 5 is a switch on your thermostat, and it costs you in a way that's been measured, auto or on. Running the fan continuous feels responsible, and in a dry climate that's legitimate. But watch the water. The compressor stops, the coil is still soaked, and the blower keeps pushing air across a warming wet surface. The Florida Solar Energy Center measured it. On a 20-minute cycle, continuous fan operation put 19% of the moisture just removed straight back into the house. Nearly 1/5 of your dehumidification undone by a switch. That's the callback. Nothing was airborne. And this is the version I won't sell you. Fan on does not blow coil mold through your house. I can't support it. The film is glued down, and no measurement shows fan operation aerosolizing it. I'd rather lose the scarier line than get handed a study I can't answer. Set it to auto. That one's free. Number 6 should make you angriest, because it's the only item where somebody knowingly takes your money. A coupon lands for $60 duct cleaning. A crew arrives. Somebody goes into the attic with a phone, comes back with a photo of something dark, and says mold. The price becomes $1,100 in your hallway. That's been prosecuted. New Jersey's Division of Consumer Affairs secured more than $1.7 million in penalties against 2 duct cleaning companies. The state documented over 1,200 violations. It called the pattern bait and switch. And look at what's upsold. No products are federally registered as biocides for fiberglass ductboard or lined duct. None. So if your ducts are lined, and most built after the mid-'80s are, there's no legal sanitizer to apply. The same agency says duct cleaning has never been shown to prevent health problems. Then there's the box on the side. Bipolar ionization, plasma, whatever the brochure calls it. Little research exists evaluating it outside a lab. And one device sold as ozone-free was measured pushing indoor ozone past 1,000 parts per billion. California caps air cleaners at 50. And yes, I know I just spent 9 minutes explaining that almost everything sold here is overstated or prosecuted. So let me be useful. You've been sold measurement when the problem is water. First, and this is free, look at the coil. Kill power at the breaker, open the access panel and put a flashlight on it. You're looking for a slick matted layer between the fins or standing water in the pan below. 30 seconds beats a $400 air sample. The honest limit is that on most systems you can't see the loaded face, the inside of the V, so a clean near side doesn't clear it. But a dirty near side means the far side is worse. Second, fix the water, because every item on that list traces back to it. The ventilation standard wants the drain pan sloped 1/8 of an inch per foot toward the outlet. It wants a trap deep enough to drain against blower suction. Go check yours. Add a float switch so a block drain kills the system instead of your ceiling. Keep the house between 40 and 55% humidity, but a flat or sagging pan usually can't be resloped. Third, and this is the one I'd spend my own money on, ultraviolet light aimed at the coil. Not air disinfection, which tries to kill organisms flying past in a fraction of a second. Coil irradiation points a lamp at a surface that can't move away. A double-blind crossover trial in the Lancet in 2003 followed 771 office workers. Irradiating the coils and pans cut surface contamination and work-related symptoms. But the caveats matter. That trial was office buildings and self-reported symptoms. Dose and geometry decide everything, so a lamp at the wrong distance may do nothing while the panel light glows. And it does not clean a dirty coil. It only prevents regrowth on a clean one. Which leaves the question I promised. It's really two. Show me the coil. Right now, with my own flashlight. A photo that arrives already taken, of a part you can't identify, is a prop and not evidence. Then, which face are you cleaning and how are you reaching it? The entering face is easy, and it's the clean one, because your filter guards it. A shrug tells you everything. But the correct answer sounds like work. Stop buying measurement and start buying drainage. A flashlight, a hygrometer, a trap with a cleanout and a thermostat set to auto-beat every product on that invoice. You were never helpless. You were just missing the vocabulary. Go open that panel this week, while the coil is running wet. Then tell me in the comments what you found, and whether anybody has ever opened it in front of you. Next time we're doing the filter. The highest rated one on the shelf is quietly strangling these systems, and the repair it causes is the one it was sold to prevent. YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so click it. And if you made it to the end, subscribe.